What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about MicroStrategy today. MSTR. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it. Here we are, down a little bit today to close out the stock day. $329 at this current price. We're probably going to come back a little bit, right? Fill this gap, maybe even fill this gap down here. Something like that is to be expected. I am anticipating that Bitcoin itself does have a rather intense drawback from this current price. Something on the lines of, probably if I really had to guess, something on the lines of like anything from, let's say, 16 to 18%, maybe more than that. I would expect or suspect that that same kind of drop for MicroStrategy would imply, at least the same level. 16 to 18% here would put you right in the heart of this gap. I think you complete the thought and you fill that gap completely. So something that's around 260 is what we're looking for. $260. You're at 329 now, 328 post market and after hours, right? And yeah, that'd be about a 20% drop from the current price, and that's what I would anticipate. Could you drop lower? Sure. Could you not drop as low? Sure. I wouldn't expect that you don't fill this gap, but you don't need to fill every gap, right? There's a gap that did not get filled there. Here's a gap that didn't get filled. There's a gap that didn't get filled, right? You don't have to fill every single gap, or at least not immediately, anyways, right? There's a gap way at the top, or no, not at the top. Sorry, that's an open, not a closing price. My bad. But still, the point remains, you don't have to fill every single gap. However, I do believe we go down to about 260, something like that. If we look at this relative low to a relative high, the only way that I could see this not happening, I suppose, would be if Bitcoin happens to drop between the hours of after hours on Friday and early hours on Monday. If we see that kind of drop happen, is this camera? I feel like the camera's a little bit foggy. Let's see if we can. Yeah, that looks a little bit better now. I don't know why. Maybe my daughter was playing with it or something. Let's go here. Hold on. If Bitcoin drops after hours Friday and then early hours Monday, it sees its low, but like it recovers a little bit. Like let's say Bitcoin did hit a low that was all the way down from here about 18%, but that was early on Monday, and then by the time the stock market opens, it's up. It's all the way back at like 76K or something like that. Then maybe in that scenario, MicroStrategy wouldn't have to go down here. But even then, 260, it's a nice zone right here around the golden ratio, 270, 261. If you went to the 786 even at 251, that's fine. But something that's below $300 is definitely what I would anticipate. Something that's below there, and likely something in that mid 200 range, right between 200 and 300. There is what we're expecting. From there, we'll likely see some intense growth, and I actually want to go through and analyze this thing and how it likes to move this cycle, and see if we can't concoct something from that. Let's go ahead and do this. Okay, so hold on. Show you what I mean. So on a weekly basis here, you can see that the bear market ended here. This wasn't the beginning of the bull market. You're in the crab market right now, moving sideways, right, like a crab. And then finally the bull market starts here. Your initial move up was let's do it by measurements. Yeah, let's do it like that. So from a low to a high here, that was a 137% gain, right? From a low to a high here, that was a 152% gain. Okay, so getting a little bit bigger. From a low to a high here, that was 136%, still in this range, right? Still in that kind of average, very close to that first move there. From a low to a high here, biggest move so far, and that was 355. And then we get to this one here. I'm not going to take the low of the range necessarily. I want to take the low of the moves, which just so happens to be, right, this was like the beginning of the move here. This was the beginning of the move here. It was all the lows of the range there. But this one, I don't want to take that low to high because this doesn't feel like the beginning of the move, right? It's like I wouldn't take this low over here. I'm going to take this low right here, low to high there. That's your move, fully encapsulated, 377. So it's getting bigger basically as you go on, right? A little bit here and there, a little bit more bullish than Bitcoin, that's for sure. So if the move begins here, and I think it has, I think this is the beginning of your move up, I would anticipate we see something between 137% to something that's 377% or likely bigger, right? And I have this theory. It's not really a theory. It's it's a theory based on past performances for the current performance, for the future performance of this thing, but it's very accurate and factual evidence and evident in the charts, historically speaking, right? Bitcoin, historically speaking, does get the biggest moves at the end of its bull cycle. MicroStrategy is essentially a Bitcoin bank. It tracks Bitcoin, right? And it outperforms Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin's seeing bigger moves, MicroStrategy too will likely see bigger moves. And if we went through and measured Bitcoin's movements throughout this whole cycle, we see the same thing. It just continues to grow at bigger, faster rates. Maybe not faster, but larger rates overall from a low to a high on the move. But I digress. Let's get to 136%. What would 136% take us to? So, I don't know about you guys, but that seems a bit unlikely. I don't think that we stop here. Maybe we do for a moment. You could find a little consolidation here, whatever. But I think this move, like here you stopped for a week. Here you stopped for a couple of weeks, but this whole move is still one thing. Here you stopped even for like 4 weeks here, but you continued to move up. In the context of like what this quote unquote move will look like, I don't think we stop at 136, man. That doesn't make any sense to me. 377, what would that be? 377%, something up at that area. That puts you at about $1,100, which, surprise, surprise, we have multiple targets for besides just doing it this way. The reason I'm doing it this way today is because I think it's important to use different aspects. If you come up with different aspects that agree with the same area, they call that confluence, and confluence is a hell of a thing, my friends. Confluence is a hell of a drug. All right, anyways, name. I didn't use the right voice for that, but just name that famous person if you know who I'm talking about. Confluence. It's a hell of a drug, but he doesn't say confluence. It's another C word. Anyways, and then he laughs afterwards. We're at that same area, right? And that's if we see a similar move to last time, but we probably don't see a similar move, or it's similar, sure, but a little bit bigger. Maybe we see something that's a little bit bigger, right? 377, we went from 355 to 377. Let's just say 390. Let's just say we go to 390, something like that right there. It's $1,150 essentially, right? If we take this high here to this low, and I do assume that to be the low, I don't think that you go lower, right? That's the low. That takes us right up to our 1,886,200 area, which I've long been predicting we go to, right? Something right in this area. Above the 1,618, below the 2,272, though we could go to the 2,272. We could see prices even go just above there, but this 1,886 to the 200 level agrees very well with that area, okay? We're going to put a line right at this idea of a measure move here, or of a measurement, of a potential outcome, okay? So the 1,886 fib lines up with that. The way that the cycle looks, the way that movements have been happening, and we assume that it's going to see a bigger amount of growth this time, it makes sense. From a high to a low of the last bull market to the bear market low, it's also in this 1,886,200 area, which when you break above the golden ratio of which you topped right here, the very next area to stop at would be this area, and you're right in the heart of that. So that makes sense on multiple fib fronts. And then now, of course, the pattern itself, which is a bull flag. If we look at this for what it is, this right here, flag pole, flag down, right? You've got a bull flag, right? It's very clear as day. That's your flag pole, that's your flag. It's a bull flag. It's a flag of bullishness, right? Bullish behavior is to come from a low to a high of this flag. If we put that at the base of the flag itself, from the flag pole to the base of the flag there, that takes you right up into the same zone. So no matter how you skin it, or I suppose at least we did like 4 different ways to analyze it, all coming up at the exact same area. I really do believe that MicroStrategy is on its way, maybe not immediately, but over the weeks, over the months to come, maybe not over the days to come, but over the weeks and over the months to come, yes, it's on its way up to $1,100 to $1,300. That's my expectation. If it were to go higher, I wouldn't be surprised. It could happen. In fact, I want to run with this idea real quick, because if we look at it right here, Bitcoin topped off on December 17th. MicroStrategy topped off here in November. So it does top off before Bitcoin. So to apply this logic, what I'm about to do, it's not necessarily completely appropriate, right? Here we topped off, though, on March 11th last year. Here you topped off March 25th. So you topped off a little bit after. So sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. But it's not completely appropriate, but it's not completely invalid either, what I'm about to do here. So I'm anticipating that Bitcoin, this is not a Bitcoin analysis, so I'm not going to go into depth with this, but I do think that Bitcoin will go above 170K by the end of this next move. Okay, now where MicroStrategy is, I don't know. All I'm assuming is that MicroStrategy grows more than Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin moves up 100%. What will MicroStrategy do? Well, if we take into consideration, let's just see what MicroStrategy's last move was. This was from September, right? From the low in August to the high of that move. Let's just do that. What was this? From a low to a high overall. That's just what we'll say. Low to high overall. That was a 430% move. From a low to a high in that same amount of time for Bitcoin. And we'll even take the actual, maybe not the actual high, but just the high by the time MicroStrategy topped off, because I think that'd be the most applicable. November 18th. right here, this price. So Bitcoin moved up 102% last time. MicroStrategy moved up 430% in that same time frame. Okay, so essentially a 4-to-1 ratio, a little bit more than that, right? I'm anticipating Bitcoin on this go round moves up something about 100% again, probably. And the thing is, though, this wasn't all one move, right? This is just from the low to that high there. It's not all one move. I do think that this will kind of be all in one swift move. It'll be a 100% move or bigger. If that's the case, then we would anticipate that MicroStrategy likely it doesn't go lower than this, so it would then see something probably very comparable to this move here, which makes sense also from the certain perspective that this is a bull flag, and bull flags do see comparable moves to the flagpole itself. So a comparable move would be 430%. Not that this is the whole full bull flag, to be fair, but 430% would put you at $1,200, right? It's all in the same area. I hope it's making sense, right? Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but the next move for MicroStrategy, where it's going to go when it's all said and done, I really do believe it's going to tear through $1,000. I think that it'll be significantly higher, maybe not significantly higher. At 220%, that's significant in my opinion, but a certain degree higher than $1,000. That's for sure. I don't think that we stop there. A lot of people watch everybody who thinks they know what they're talking about. They're going to say that MicroStrategy is going to do one of two things. It's going to stop at 1,000 because that's psychological resistance. Nope, wrong. It's going to go ballistic. It's going to 2,000, 5,000, whatever. And no, you're too bullish, right? We're going to go somewhere right in the middle there. A little bit more bullish than even the mildest bulls, a little bit less bullish than the spicy bulls out there. $1,200, $1,100, $1,300. That's kind of the target range. Probably above $1,100, probably below $1,300, right? And this is going to happen by the end of May to June. Now that we've understood how high it's going to go, let's understand why or how long it's going to take, right? I say end of May, end of June. Let's just do this. So we've done the percentage growth. Let's do the time now. From a low to a high, right? That was 7 weeks. From a low to a high here, that was 18 weeks. I don't know. Is that appropriate? Sure, I guess. 7 weeks, 18 weeks. Low to high. We didn't really start the move until this week. Let's go with that. That was 11 weeks there. Low here to this high. That was 9 weeks there. And then, of course, this one started here. That was 11 weeks there. So assuming that the move has already began, and I think that it has began, we're looking at something between 7 to 18 weeks. But I doubt we see 18 weeks, and I doubt we see 7 weeks, right? Probably 9 to 11 is a little bit more encouraging there, let's just say. But 7 weeks would put you at the end of April. Okay, maybe. I could see it happening, but probably not. 18 weeks would put you sometime in July. Again, maybe, but again, probably not. I don't think it takes that long. And that one was a kind of slower pace move anyways, right? We're not, I don't know. To me, no. You're figuring things out in the beginning of the bull market? No, probably not. And this move could have been deciphered as a 2-part move. Maybe it was a 5-week move here. Maybe from a low to a high here, it was a 5-week move there as well, depending on how you want to skin it. But, 7 weeks doesn't make sense to me. 18 weeks doesn't make sense to me. And the reason for that is if we're thinking about $1,000 and the way that this thing likes to move so far, those kind of movements don't take that little amount of time, and they also don't take that much amount of time. Something in between there, 11 to 9 weeks. What would that line up with? 11 to 9 weeks. 9 weeks would take us to the middle of May, which I could see happening. Honestly, that's still a little early in my opinion, but it could happen. Middle of May could be, again, if it tops off before Bitcoin, I think Bitcoin will top off in the end of May or end of June, so that could happen. If it is 11 weeks, that would put us in the very beginning of June, right? 11 weeks here, 27th of May, that would be the end of June there, or the end of May, beginning of June, something like that. And if it is something in between 11 and 18, which could happen as well, maybe it is the end of June. But I suppose the anticipation would be sometime at the end of May, we will see a move up that takes us around $1,100 to $1,300. Above $1,100, below $1,300. That's the expectation. Could it go higher? Sure. Could it go lower? Sure. But the most sense that I can make out of this from a bunch of different perspectives is, at least as far as I'm concerned, that's what I just laid out here. It makes the most sense to go to these areas in a very, 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 very short amount of time. I'm curious, just before we end this video here, where's the max pain at? Where are people putting their money? Let's just see. Have people given up yet? Tell me you've given up. It's better if you've given up. I want capitulation. It'll happen on this drop, man. These numbers, they're gonna change. It's not gonna be this degree for too long. What the hell is happening, man? Here, we're gonna refresh you. Taking too long to load. You're taking even longer to load. I got internet. It says I got full bars. The internet does suck out here though, guys. I'm getting new internet. I'm literally getting new internet. Oh, come on. because of stuff like this. This is embarrassing. It's like, it's to me, you know, like this is my profession. This is my job. This is what I do. And I can't even do it properly because of stuff like this. I'm wasting my time and your time. We can't even look at it. We just can't even look at it. Like, isn't that some lame shit? That's just, it's just lame. Options charts. What? Why? Why did it glitch like that? Why was it doing that? It's like I had to talk smack about it. It's like, okay, fine, I'll get to work. View all expiries. View all expiries, please. Help me out here. Yes. So yeah, we we got a lot of, look at that, guys. A lot of calls open. Yeah, that's not a good ratio to have, man. Where, yeah, people are getting really bullish, and that's fine. There's still a lot of puts open too. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of interest in that as well. But once this shifts, I think we'll be in a more prominent stance. People will probably get shaken out on MSTR with this drop down to 260. People will be like, no, it's just a lower high. Don't you see it's just a lower high? We're going to form a lower low. You'll see people say that, and they're going to talk about this price down here at 185 or 200 like they know what they're talking about. But man, that's the low. Not financial advice, not financial advisor. Maybe they do know what they're talking about. Maybe we do go down to these areas, but I don't think we go below this low, and I don't believe that we're going to continue moving higher until Bitcoin has some resolution to the downside, which again is likely going to come over the next like 7 days now. Within a week, I think we'll have that resolution, or at least begin it. I've got nothing else for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.